All right. So what did we learn in the previous session? Any questions?
We learned many things.
We learned about string comparison, right? String comparison and also iterations, while, do while, and advanced for. So what's the difference between while and do while? Do you remember it?
I think do while waits for the. I don't know how to put it.
However you understood, just put it in that way. We can correct it. We can understand. I'll try to understand.
What is the question again, Nikhil?
What is the difference between while and do while?
While just gives the output, but do while it waits for the.
No,
Is it like
no. Both checks the condition. Both has the conditional statement. Both waits until that condition is met, or until that condition becomes false.
so? Then
Did
what is the
we
difference?
did we learn that?
While and do while, yeah.
So you are not listening these sessions.
I was listening, but I don't know. I feel like I never heard that once.
See, the while
Oh, okay.
and do while also give tasks to you. Also the syntax. What is the difference here? This didn't we discuss? While and do while. Minimum number of iterations for do while is 1, whereas minimum number of iterations for while loop is 0.
Zero. Yeah.
While loop condition is checked in the beginning, do while loop condition is checked at the end. That is the difference between while and do while. Okay. And then advanced for loop. This is also called as extended for loop or for each loop, which can be used only over the collection of items or group of items like arrays, list, set, but not over the individual values. Like if you want to print the numbers from 1 to 10, you cannot print it directly with the help of advanced for loop. You have to go over normal for loop. Understood the difference?
Yeah.
Here you do not have to initialize, you do not have to check the condition, you do not have to increment or decrement. By default, this will iterate over all the elements in that group. I mean, I'm using group because you don't know how this is a collection for now. And we are going to learn that collections a little later. Right? So if you have a set of values, if you want to iterate or if you want to do some action on each of the value, then we go for advanced for each item. So those were the things that we learned in our previous session, along with the string comparison. So in string comparison, we have learned what is the difference between double equals to and dot equals to, right? So what is the difference between double equals to and dot equal to?
Nikhil.
Yeah.
So Bobby is asking if you change the Zoom meeting. No, right?
No, you are able
No,
to
it's the same. Yeah, we are able to join. Because she's not able to join with the link you sent before.
seriously.
Bobby, should I send you again? Okay, wait.
Recording. So we have learned string comparisons last week, last session, right? So what is the difference between double equals to and dot equal to method? Did we learn that? Or why we should not use double equals to for string comparison? What is happening if you use double equals to? We are not able to hear you. Sharap or Yanji. What will happen if you use double equals to for comparison of strings? Oh. So when we use double equals to, it is going to compare the memory locations of two different variables or two memory different addresses for strings, because whenever you create a new string or whenever you get value from outside of the code, then the string will always create a new memory with the help of new keyword. So when your Java sees a new keyword, it allocates new memory location for this string. Though this is the same string, it will be in a different memory address as well. So when you compare two different memory addresses, it will never be equal. So that is why even if the strings are same, if you are comparing with double equals to, it says both are not equal. So that is the reason we have separate methods for string comparison. Okay. So how to do string comparison? Okay. We have already seen this, how to perform the string comparison in previous classes. So in some of the areas, some of the conditions, some of the checks, I have already used the string comparison method. So for example, now I will take the same value 1 and value 2. Now, if value 1 dot equals value 2, that's all. This is a method which is present in string class. Equals is a method which is written inside the string class. You see java.lang.string. This is a class. Inside that you have a method called equals, which is going to return a boolean value. It is going to compare both the value 1 and value 2. If both are equal, it is going to return true. If both are not equal, it is going to return false. So this is how you have to understand the method. If you want more information, you will see here in the documentation. See, this is the class name. Java.lang is a package and a string is a class. And then in this java.lang.string, you have a equals method. This equals method is taking input a single object, and then it is going to return a boolean value. The first one for methods, the first one is a return type, and then this is the package name, class name, and method name. And then in the places, these are the parameters, and this is a return type. If you see this dot is for methods. If it is a class, then you will see C symbol over here, not the dot. Okay, and then information about this method, how to use, what it returns, what it does inside. So all this information will be present over here. Okay, see, compares this string to the specified object. The result is true if and only if the argument is not null and is a string object that represents the same sequence of characters as an object. So it is comparing two strings. And for finer grained string comparison, refer to this. You can also refer to this class if you want more string comparison details. But let's not go in deep. What they are doing to do this equation. Okay, and then equals is overriding object. Parameter, this is taking a string against object. Then true if the given object represents a string equivalent to the string. False otherwise. See, like this you have more information about the method. So whenever you are trying to use some methods, if you don't know what does that method do, you can just see over here. Okay, right. So since if condition takes a true or false, since if condition takes a true or false, this equals method is already returning a boolean value. Both are equal. So just value 1 is equals to value 2. So I'll say else say names are same. Okay, if you want, I can print value one plus also print is right. Comparing using W equals to. Just I'm writing extra statement so that you will see that this value 1 and value 2 printed in the console. There is an information that this is comparing using W equals to. And here we are comparing it using dot equals. Okay. Now let me run this. These are our old things. See here, comparing using double equals. Both the names are Sharab. Name 1 is Sharab, name 2 is Sharab. When you use double equals to, it is saying who are you, which is in else condition. You see, but in the same values, name 1 is Sharab and name 2 is Sharab. When I am using dot equals, it gave both the names are same. So you understood the difference, right? Yesterday, in our previous session. All right. Now, suppose I have a name Sharab and Sharab, but I'm going to have see this. Both the names are Sharab. Still, when we use dot equals, it says value 1 and value 2 are different. Both are Sharab, right? It is not understanding the meaning of this. It is just comparing character by character. So that is why Java is considered as case sensitive. Do you remember? Uppercase letter is different from lowercase letter. So when you compare this and this, it will say both are not same. Let's see that. You see, Sharab and Sharab comparing using double equals, it says who are you, and even with comparing dot equals to, it says names are not same. But if you observe, both the names are same, right? Both the names are same. Java is case sensitive. If you use or if there is a change in the case sensitivity, these are all in lowercase and these are in uppercase. Right? So if you want to compare these kind of things, if you are not aware that whatever the value that I'm going to get from the application or from the user is not going to maintain the case sensitivity, then we have another method called equals ignore case. So the same value I'm going to copy here, but instead of equals, I'm going to use equals ignore case. You see this method equals ignore case, which is going to ignore the case sensitivity. Okay, inside it, what is it doing? See, character dot to lowercase or character dot to uppercase. On each character produces the same result. So it is going to apply or it is going to convert each letter to lowercase or each letter to uppercase and then compare them. Inside itself, it is comparing. Understood? So you don't have to do any conversion. Equals ignore case of value 2. Okay. Now, right. Same statement here, CISO statement, but with dot equals ignore case. Now, if I run this, the same method. See here, Sharab and Sharab comparing using double equals to, it says who are you? Sharab and Sharab comparing using dot equals, it says names are not same. But when I use comparing using dot equals ignore case. It says both the names are same. So understood? Equals doesn't consider the case sensitivity. It considers the case sensitivity. There is a difference in the case sensitivity, then this will say it is not equal. But if you want to see the name is same or not, ignore the cases or ignore the uppercase or lowercase. But if the letters or if the characters are same, then that's fine for me. Then we have to use dot equals ignore case. So these are the most common used methods for string comparison. Equals and equals ignore case. Similarly, we have another method called compare to. Okay, difference between equals and compare. So what is the difference between equals and compare? Dot equals method is comparing the strings and returns either true or false. Dot equals method is comparing the strings and is returning a true or false. If both are same, it is going to return true. If both are not same, then it is going to return false. Whereas dot compare to method, okay, compares two strings and returns the difference in Unicode values. So it compares two strings or each character by character, but it returns the difference. For example, let us assume that A starts at 0. For example, A is 1. A is 1. Then where will be D? On fourth position, right? If A is the 1, A is having an ID 1, B is 2, C is 3, and D is 4. So when you compare A and D, what are the values? For A it is 1, for D it is 4. Now it will compare A and D, it will reduce 4 minus 1 or 1 minus 4, and it is going to return minus 3 or plus 3. If you return D, if you compare D and A, then it will return 3. If you compare A and D, then it will return minus 3. If difference is 0 or if there is no difference between two characters that you use, then it is going to return 0. So what is it returning? This is returning Boolean value. This is returning Boolean value and this is returning integer value, not Unicode. It is int values. How does this int values work? If both are same, then difference is 0. If are not same, is going to return the difference between them in integer, which is not equals to 0. If it is 0, then it is different. Both are equal. Okay. And if both are not equal, then you will get either a positive integer value or a negative integer value. Why this positive integer or negative integer? Okay, I'll show you some example and then let's go for another. I'll show you the Unicode values from where it is starting and then how many values we have. Okay, right. So let's compare some values. Say string name 1 is equals to, I'll use my name. Did I use already the name 1 variable? Yeah, name 1 is already there. Okay, and then string names 2. is equals to, I'm going to use NITIL. Okay. Some difference is there. This is uppercase N, this is lowercase n, and rest of the characters are okay. Let's forget about the rest of it. Everything is in lowercase, but the difference here is only n right now. See, so name one dot compare to. If I run this compare to, what is it returning? Observe here, what is it returning? The compare to integer. This is from java.lang package string class, and the method name is compare. Yeah. This is the source code. You will be able to see the source code directly. This is the source code. Able to see it, right? So java.lang.string is a class, and compare to is a method, and it is taking another input as string, and what returning is integer. So the explanation of this is here. It is a little different between when compared to equals. Equals is going to return true or false, whereas this method is going to return a number. Either it might be a positive or it might be a negative. See, this is all the explanation about this method. So this is going to get the character at particular character from that particular string, and then it is going to compare with the same character at that particular string. So how is it going to compare? It is going to compare this n with this n. Okay. Now, if I run this, what is the value? Let us see. What is it showing? What is the value? Okay, Sharaf, are you following the lecture?
Nikhil, we can't hear you.
Now or from the beginning?
Sometimes.
Now are you able to hear me clearly?
Now, yes.
Okay, fine. Yeah. So what you understand? You see this minus 32? When we compare name 1 and name 2, what is it returning?
Minus 32.
Yeah, it is an integer, right? It's a number. Okay, so how come this minus 32 came here? Because now I'll show you something. Browser. It will start. See here, uppercase N. What is the value of uppercase N?
78.
Okay. What is the value of lowercase n?
110.
110. Now, if you calculate 110 minus 78, what is the difference?
Minus 32.
Exactly. So it is minus 32. I mean, when you remove 110 from 78, because here we are comparing uppercase with lowercase. So that is why it is giving minus 32. So capital N is 78 and lowercase n is 110. So uppercase letter minus lowercase letter. The difference is minus 32. Now, if I change this in reverse order, names 2 to names 1, now it will compare and then it is going to return as a positive 32. What? What did I? How come both will become same? Oh, sorry. You see here name 2. It should be actually names 2. Right? Name 2 is something different, which is, yeah, you see the value 32. Earlier it was giving us minus 32 and now it is giving us 32 because now it is removing 110 from 78 because I'm comparing names 2 to names 1. So what is names 2? Lowercase n. Lowercase n has 110 and uppercase n has 78. So 110 is compared with 78. So 110 minus 78 will return positive 32. 110, 78 minus 110 will return minus 32. So either the case, lower cases in the beginning or upper cases in the beginning, you will get the difference value, but with either plus or minus, right? So these are the Java values, ASCII values for alphabets. You see, alphabet capital A starts at 65 and it ends at 90. Whereas lowercase alphabet starts at 97 and ends at 122. So based on these decimal values of these characters, when you use compare to of a character uppercase A and lowercase a, actually the compare to method is getting the decimal value of these two characters and then comparing both of them and then subtracting them. That means they are finding the difference between these two numbers 65 and 97 and it is going to return the difference value either in positive value or negative value. So when both are equal, that means 65 minus 65 will be equals to 65, so there won't be any subtraction or any other operation that is needed. Okay, it will be returning 65 minus 65 is 0. But if we have any letter changed from lowercase to uppercase letter, then its value is 65 and then its value is 97. So it compares both of them and then returns the difference between them. For example, now I'm going to make it uppercase n. So both are same now. Okay. Instead of this, I'm going to add a uppercase L. Lowercase l and uppercase l. Now if I run this, you'll again see 32. You see? Again 32. So it doesn't change, right? If A to A is 32 difference, then Z to Z is also 32 difference. 90 and 122. This is 122 and 90. So whatever the letter you take, there will be a difference of 32. Agree?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Now let me change some more cases here.
Nikhil, I have one question.
Yes.
So when you assign a variable string names one, I thought every time you have to put new string Nikhil like that. We don't need to use the new here. New word
This, if you if you use new keyword, it is going to create a new memory location. Without that, it is directly going to create a string. So you don't have to worry. You don't have to create an object for the class and then use this. We can also use it directly like this for strings.
Okay.
Okay. So to assign a value to a string, I'm using like this. All right. So now you see here, I updated 3 of the characters, K, I, L. Okay. So for each character, the difference is 32. So what will be the total difference? 32 plus 32 plus 32. It should be 96, right? It should be, if you are comparing each character. But see what's it returning to us. Still 32. Why? Here it's not a single character difference. It's a multiple character difference. So it is not going to compare all the characters and return sum up them and show the difference. It is going to, once it finds some difference, then it is going to return that difference value. That's all. It is not going to compare further if there is a difference in between both the strings. So that is why you are seeing only a minus 32. So you understood, wherever it finds some difference, it will execute till there and it will return the difference values. So now if I want to use this dot compare to method to check whether these strings are equal or not, or to check if these strings are same or not, how should I write my if condition? If, come on, how should I write this?
Names 1 dot equals
Okay.
ignore case, names 2.
No, we have to use compare to method, not equals ignore case.
Okay,
to use
names
compare to
1
method.
dot compare to names 2.
Names 1 dot compare to of names 2. But if will throw an error, observe. You see, what is it saying?
Type mismatch because it is giving integer.
Yeah, it is giving an integer. So how can you make it true or false? An integer value. If he's accepting a Boolean value, right?
Yeah.
But this
So
is
we
giving
have
a we have to
give some integer assign variable assignment.
no.
Hmm?
So how can we make this, or how can we make an expression return true or false? So if I say the returned value is greater than 0, or returned value is not equals to 0.
Return value equal to 0 and then they are same.
Yeah. See, if I say not equals to 0, the error is gone, because this expression is going to return true or false, but not till here. If you are using equals ignore case, this is already returning true or false, so we don't have to do extra comparison. But here, this is returning an integer value, so we have to compare with the required value. Understood? If this is double equals to 0, then both are same. Else, not same. That's all. Understood? So this is the difference between equals and compare to. So similarly, we have compare to ignore case. If you don't want to follow the case sensitivity, if you want to literally follow the meaning of this word, I mean, literally follow the total construction of this word, ignoring the case sensitivity, then similarly, like equals ignore case, we also have compare to ignore case. If names 1 dot compare to ignore case, you see there is a method called compare to ignore case. Now I'm using this compare to ignore case, and this is also going to return integer only. So if you want to compare, use like this. So both are same, else both not same. Okay, so just for your understanding, I'm writing extra CISO statement over here. It says using compare. And then here using compare to ignore. Now if I run, you'll understand. See, using compare to, it is seeing not same. What are not same? Nickel and nickel. But when I use compare to ignore case, it says both are same. Understood? So now you understood how to compare the strings and what are the methods available for us to compare the strings.
Yes, yeah.
We have two methods, dot equals and dot compare to. If you want to ignore the case sensitivity, then we have dot equals ignore case and dot compare to ignore case. So these are the methods that will be used to compare the strings. Clear? So we are done with the initial operation, that is comparing strings. So what happens when we use double equals to, and then why should we use dot equals, and we can use dot equals or dot equals ignore case, and then we have dot compare to and dot compare to ignore case. So this is all about comparison of strings. Okay. Now let us go to the part called substring. So what is the substring? Finding the presence of a substring. So now we are performing operations on a substring. So for example, okay. Wait, I'll
Is
create
it
a
the same
new.
concept as SQL, the substring?
What is it in subsequence? SQL?
We will find the position and we'll extract.
Exactly. Similarly, we are also going to do the same operation here. Substring means we are going to find the position and then extract this. So in substrings, we can do multiple things. First, we can find whether that substring is present in the string or not. Right?
Yeah,
If you are able to find the position, that means it is present. If there is no value for that position, then it is not present. So we can check the presence of a substring, and we can also extract the substring. So these are the two operations that we are going to do on this substring. So presence of a substring and then extracting the substring. These are the two things. Okay. So let us see how do we check the presence of a substring and how do we extract the substring. Okay. So since you know what is a substring, I think it is not needed for me to explain, right, in detail.
Yeah, no needed.
Okay. Yanji and Sharaf. It's okay, right? Can I directly jump into the usage of these things?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, Subastier, Sharaf.
Yeah.
Yeah, tell the syntax and go to.
Sure. That syntax only I'm going to do now. I know it will be a difference between Java and SQL. So I'm going to show the syntax instead of explaining what is a substring and then why should we do this. So you already know why should we do that and what is a substring also, right? Underscore. Substring underscore presence underscore extraction. Let us do all the things. I need a main method. All right. So suppose I have a string. Yeah, is equal to. Thank you. With us. Your order number is okay. Not this example will be for okay. Your order number is something. Okay. This I'll use for another example. Okay. I'll create another string. String registration message is equals to say your account Nikhil.tutor@gmail.com is successfully registered with us. Okay. So forget about this string for now. Let us discuss about that string later and extraction of this order number later. Now, to check the presence of string, when should we use this check the presence? Check the presence of a string. So here in this case, so whenever I'm registering to an application, will I know my email ID or will I don't know?
Yeah, we do know.
We do know that, right?
Yeah.
So I know that with what email ID I have already registered. This is the email ID that I used to register to the account. Now I have a registration success message. Okay. Registration success message. And I want to compare the email ID, or I want to know whether the email ID displayed in the success message is same with the email ID which I used to register. Right? Agree? So if you are doing testing, if you are doing manual testing or if you are doing automation testing, so when you have two strings, or when you are working with the registration functionality, so you registered an account into the website and then it is giving you a success message. Now you want to see whether the success message is showing the correct email ID or not. Whatever you entered while registering, the same email ID should be displayed in the success message. Agree?
Yes.
Right. So now I want to see, I already know what is the email ID that I registered with. Okay. Now I want to compare the email ID which I entered with the email ID which is present in this. If both are same, okay, then success message is showing correctly and the registration functionality is working correctly. If there is a difference between the email address, so what I entered and what is it showing on the success message, then the registration functionality is not working correctly. Agree, right? It's true, right? If the email ID which I entered is shown in the success message, it's working perfect. If there is a difference, or if the email IDs which I entered and it is showing on the success message is different, then the functionality is not working properly. So that is the difference. Now let us see registration success message. I'll create string email ID is equals to, I'm going to store here. Now I have a registration
Nikhil,
email
sorry
ID.
to ask the same question again. What is the difference between adding as a new string or just assigning the, it's about a memory?
Yep, it's all about memory. So when you add it like this, it is going to, when you do not use a new keyword, it is not going to create an object for string class. So that means it is not going to have a new memory allocation. I mean, for the first time, it is going to add a memory for this email ID. But for suppose if I'm going to use like this again, okay, I'll take you to the back. I'll take you back to the old example again. Where is this? Yeah. You see here, when I'm using double equals to, even if I write the same name, right? Both are same name without the new keywords. Name 1 and name 2 are equal. When I run this, it is going to print the names are same. Did you see that?
It will not print.
It will. You forgot yesterday before previous session. You see names are same.
Yeah.
So when you are using like this, name 1 and name 2 with the same values, so what is it going to do? I told you in previous session. Let me share whiteboard. So here, this will be your memory location. In this, now there is str1, which is Nikhil, N-I-K-I-L, and then there is str2, which is again Nikhil, N-I-K-I-L. So when your code is executing and it is at the line this, so it understands, okay, string 1 is Nikhil. So it is going to allocate, or it is going to store NIKIL in a value which is having some address. And then you have a variable str1. So we know that str1 is going to point this address. Okay. and then so it is already, so nickel is already stored in the memory, and then when you created another variable called str2 and storing the same value nikil, both are same, so it is now not going to create a new memory allocation and store nickel in that. It is going to store, or it is going to point the string2 variable also to the same nickel. Okay, this is part 1 without new, and then we are using new keyword. str3 is equals to new string and then some nickel nik, for example, and then similarly str4 is equals to new str and then again same keyword nik. Okay, so we have two things. So here the key thing is new. So whenever your Java is coming to this line, it is new keyword. Okay, so I have to allocate a memory for this because it is a new object. So it is going to create a memory here, NIK, and it is going to have an address, and then this address is going to be stored in string 3. So this is pointing to this. Okay, but when it comes to this next line again, okay, it came to here, but before going to this nick, before checking whether this is the same or not, it is a new keyword. So by default, it assumes that, okay, this might be a different value and I should create a new memory. So it is going to create another memory allocation with the same value, NIK. This will be having a different address. So when you create, this address will be stored in str4. Now this str4 will be pointing to this. So when you use new, the same value is stored, the same duplicate value is stored in different memory addresses. So when you use double equals to here, it is not going to work because the addresses are same. When you use double equals to here, it is going to work because the address of str1 and str2 are same. Understood? Bobby, did I answer your question?
Yeah, I got it. So when do we use this and when do we use this?
If you want to create normal strings, then you can use this without new keyword. Okay, but if you want create an object for a class, then we use this new keyword. So normally for strings, most of the times we use this only.
Okay.
Okay, for strings, but for other classes, if you want to use the methods in this in that particular class, then we have to use this. Okay, you will understand this new keyword more when we go into the classes and objects.
Okay.
Okay. Is it clear, right?
Yeah. Memory location is clear. Yes. Usage, I will get hang of it once we go over that.
Yeah. Okay. Right, and coming back to Eclipse. All right. Yeah, we were discussing about this presence of a substring. Right. All right. So while registration, I know what is my email ID is. So I entered this email ID. So I'm removing all the clutter, like entering first name, last name, date of birth, email ID, gender, all those things. But we just want to compare the registered email with the email which is present in the success message. So if we want to see that this scenario is passed, then this email should be present inside this string, right? So for that, to check the presence of this string, we have two ways in Java, or we have a number of ways, but we can use these two methods, index of or contains. Okay, index of method or contains method. So first let us use the contains method. Contains, you know, the name itself says contains. So if this string contains this string, then that is a success. If this string doesn't contain this string, then that is a fail. Right? Now, what is the success message? Registration success message is a variable where success message is stored. Then I want to compare, or I want to check whether that string is present. You see contains, returns true if and only if this string contains the specified sequence of character values. Okay. So what is this? Not registration success message. I want to check the registration email ID. So what is it going to return? This contains method is going to return a Boolean value. You see here, a Boolean value. Means if this registration email ID is present in this success message, it is going to return true. If this registration email ID is not present in this registration success message, it is going to return false. If it is returning true, that means this substring is present in this string, right? Understood?
Yeah.
That's all. So this is going to return true. Example. Now let me run this. What is it returning? True, because this string is present inside this string. For example, there is some error with the registration functionality and the success message is being displayed wrong. It is always displaying abcdefgh@gmail.com. Okay, but I registered with the email ID. This. Now if I run this, it compares. What is it returning?
Boolean.
False. Yeah, it's a false value. So because this registration email ID is not present inside the registration success message. Is it present there? No. So that is why it is returning false. Understood? If this complete string is having a substring, this string, then it returns true. If this total string is not having, or it does, the substring is not present inside this total string, then this is going to return a false. So if you want to know the presence of a substring inside a string, then we use contains method. Understood?
Yeah.
Okay. And similarly, see, now I'm going to change this back to this address again. Okay, I changed it back, but here I'm going to have like this. Okay, still these both are same, right? Both are same, but you see gundanikhil.tutor@gmail.com, and then this is also gundanikhil.tutor@gmail.com. Both are referring to the same email address. But when I use this contains, it is going to return false. What is it returning? False. Why? Why?
Yes,
Exactly. Java is case sensitivity, case sensitive language. So if the case changes, then this does not work. So what we should do in those cases, we have to convert this string to uppercase or to lowercase. That we'll see in conversion part. Okay. For now, you understood this contains method, right?
yeah.
Did you
Right.
press dot control F for contains?
To get this?
I did. Yeah, I didn't get it. Yeah.
Yeah. So registration success message dot. You see all the methods which are available on string will be seen here. These are all the methods that you can apply on strings. So out of which contains is one. Okay.
Nikhil, registration success message is variable in which like we can put anything, right?
This one or
Just a
this
variable
name?
name. Variable.
Yeah,
name, that's
it's just a variable name. You can give your name also, not a problem. But to make it a meaningful variable, I gave the message. I gave the meaningful name, because this message I'll see when you see a success on registration, right?
If I put dot, nothing is showing up, like contain C or something. Nothing showing up for me option.
Control space.
I'll do it later at the end of the class. Okay, you go ahead.
Yeah. So this is this registration success message. In registration success message, we are comparing this registration email ID. If the same string is present inside this success message, then this is going to return true. If this is not present, then it is going to return false. So now with this, we are able to check the presence of a substring inside this. Right? Not only email ID, if you want to compare or if you want to check the contents of this successfully, you can also check this. Successfully is present here. Right? In this success message, successfully is there. So it will return true. See? So you can also compare this complete string, but we are not giving this string, right? So if you want to know the presence, then you can use this directly. Okay. So this is checking the presence of a string. Now we can apply if condition on this. Can we? If
Yeah.
registration, it's simple, right? Pretty simple. So I'm going to use the same. If registration message contains the registration or registered email ID, then so registered, entered, and registered emails are same. Or okay, this is we are speaking about substring, right? So success message is displayed with registered email address. That's all. Else, so success message does not have the registered email in it. That's all. Now if I run this, success message doesn't have the registered email in it because it is case sensitive. Now if I copy this and paste inside this, okay. Now if I run it again, it will say it is present. You see, success message is displayed with registered email address. Understood? So this is how we check the presence of using contains. Check the presence using contains. So similar to dot equals and dot compare to, here also we are having another method. Contains is returning a Boolean value, right? And then we have index of, which is going to return an integer value. Index of is going to return an integer value, which is the starting position of the substring. This is going to return Boolean value, which says of substring in main string. So if it is present, it returns true. If it is not present, it is false. It's going to return a Boolean value, but here it is going to return an integer value. What is that integer value? Which is the starting position of the substring. So in this string, from where this gundanikhil.tutor@gmail.com is starting, 4, 5, 5 plus 5, 10, 12, 13. So index will be 13 because indexing always starts from 0. So it will return a value that which is 13. Index of is going to return as 13. Let me show you that. So ready, see, so substring to check the presence. Okay, I'm just writing a message just to differentiate between this and this. Okay, all right. Now here, registration success message dot index of, you see, index of, you have, this is an overloaded method. One is taking a single character, one is taking a string, and then one is taking character and from where to start this verification, and this is another taking string and then from where to start. So first let us see this index of this particular string, this registration email ID. Okay, now if I run this, this is going to return us 38 because we have counted it, right? You see what is it returning? Found it? Okay. Now I'll do one thing. I'll just change this to uppercase G. So will my email ID present in this string now? Hello?
No.
No, because the case sensitivity is changed here. Now if I run this, the index position will be -1. So what did you understand from this? If substring is present in the
Get positive value.
string, no, yeah, positive value, it gives the position, it gives the position of the substring, starting position, it gives the starting position of the substring in main string, which will be always greater than or equals to 0. Okay. If substring is not present in the string, it is going to return -1 always. Understood? Since the index positioning already starting from 0, so if this substring is starting from this position, then it will return 0. If it is starting from here, it will give the position of it. But if it is not at all present inside this main string, then it is going to return -1. Understood? Understood what is this index of?
Yeah.
Okay. Save it. Now we have seen this presence using contains and index of. So here also we can apply if else conditions. If this index of is returning a value which is greater than or equals to 0, then this substring is present inside this string. If not, it is not present. So I'll take this, paste here, but here in the if condition I should not use contains. What I should use? I'm going to use index. But what is it saying? It's an error because index of is going to return an integer value. But what does the if accept? A Boolean value.
Yeah. So
Correct. So we have to compare this. So what is the value we should get if this is present?
greater than
Exactly, greater than or equals to
0.
0. That's all. That's fine. -1. Success message doesn't have registered email in it. Okay. Now I'll change this to lowercase letter g and then run. Now you see true, success message is displayed with the registered email address, and for this it's 13 and success message is displayed with the registered email address. So here it is Boolean value, it is the integer value. Understood? So you understood the dot equals, dot compare to, dot contains and dot index of. Do we have any questions in today's session? If you have any questions or if you have any doubts that we need to discuss, we'll use this 15 minutes for the discussion. If not, I'll continue with some other topic in this.
You can continue with some other topic. Sharaf
What-
Yanji, are you
Yeah,
okay with
Sharaf
that?
and Yanji.
So, Nikhil, do we need to use this like greater than or equals to 0?
Yes, we should, because if is only accepting a Boolean value, if means it should check whether it is a true or false. So here contains is already returning a true or false. So if it is true, then it is entering into the if block. If it is false, it is going to the else block. But here it is returning a number. Then how should that be understood by if condition? Whether it is a true or false, whether it is for us or against us, right? So if we compare it with some value, we are comparing with greater than or equals to 0, because if the substring is present in that string, it is going to give the starting position. Starting position will be starting from 0. This is the 0th position. So if this substring is present in this string at 0th position, then it will be equals to 0. Index will be equals to 0. If this one is present here, then index is 13. If this one is present here, then it will be something else. If it is present here, it will be something else. So always it will be greater than or equals to 0, index of. So that is why we are comparing with greater than or equals to 0. For suppose if you want to check the absence of this string, it should not be present in this success message, then you will say less than 0.
Nikhil, index of, there are two options giving, right? One is character and the string. We have to take the string one. If you put dot I.
I know, I understood your question. So this registration success message dot index of. You see, there are 4 methods for the index of. Right? So if you pass a single character, it will check the presence of that character, but we want to pass complete string, right? We are checking the presence of a string. Right?
Mhm.
So if you want to pass a string, if you want to
String.
compare a string, you have to pass a string.
String,
So which
string,
method will you use?
String, yeah.
That's all. So that is why I'm using the second one. So how come we have these 4 methods with the same name? That is the concept of method overloading that we'll see a little later. How can we write this same method name with the different parameters? How does it work? This we'll understand when we are dealing with method overloading, which is object-oriented programming concept.
If we choose the wrong method, does it gonna matter?
Until unless it is having the same number of parameters. For suppose index of is taking only one input and this is also taking one input. You might choose this, but if you pass a string, it will be automatically converting it to the string and then using. It doesn't
Okay.
create any problem. But for suppose, see here, index of is having 2 parameters. If you take this and pass only one, then that is going to matter. That is going to create an issue. Understood? Right. So the other parameters I know for this same index of, we have 2 parameters. You see this? If you want to check the presence of a string from a particular place, then you can use this. I don't want to start from 0. I mean, I don't want to start from the beginning of this sentence. I want to start it from somewhere. I want to start this verification from this place. Then you can do that with this index of and starting position. Okay, so let me show you this as well. Index of registration, email, ID. I want to start it. I'll show you multiple things. I want to start it from 0. By default, it will be 0. So you don't have to mention this, but okay. I want to start it from 5, from 5th position. Okay. I want to start it from 10th position. Okay. Then I want to start it from 10th position. I want to start it from 20th position. Okay. I'll show you this. See, so this is pretty simple, but I'm just showing you again. Okay, so I'll say starting position 5. Okay, index for starting position is 5. Now I'll see this. I'll paste it here. Starting position is 10. And then this will be 50. This will be 20. Okay. Now if I run this, observe the output and let me know. You see, what is it saying? When you have a starting position 5, okay, when you have the starting position 5, the index is, this is not minus 13. Since I used a dash here, you are seeing it. Okay, let me remove this dash. So it won't be any confusion. Now you see. So when you have the starting position 5, from where the email address started, from 13, from 10, it is still at 13th position. And when I use 15, so it is starting to compare the substring inside the string from 15th position. So that means it started from this place and it is going to check the entire string till here. So in that, do I have this registration email ID? No, right? It should be gundanikhil.tutor, but if you see here Gundanikhil, this is going to ignore these positions. So that is why it is giving us -1. And when you compare it with from 20th position, do I have the email ID? No. So that is what is returning as -1. If it is present, it is going to give us the exact position. If it is not present, it is going to give us the -1. Understood?
Yes.
So if you want to specify the position from where you want to search for the substring, then you use this method with 2 parameters. If you just want to search wherever it might be, you don't worry about it. But if you have the presence of string, that's okay. Then we use index of without the extra parameter from where to start. Clear?
Can we run the result once again? I want
Sure.
to see the first one.
Yeah.
Okay, so it says the email ID starts at 13th position. It is counting from 5th position.
Yeah. No, it is not counting. It is verifying from 5th position.
Yeah,
See,
yeah.
this string will not be changed, but from where we start is changing. So we are starting
It's
from here.
counting. I mean, it's starting from 5th position. The space after you.
Exactly. Yeah.
After that space, it's saying which position it is. 13th.
Exactly, 13th. And then the second example, I'm checking. I'm starting from 10th position. This is 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. From here, it is comparing from this complete string. This is ignoring this and it is verifying the presence of registration email ID in this selected part. Yes, it is present. From where? 13th position. Now I'm starting from 15th position. So in this, do I have this gundanikhil.tutor in the selected part? No, right? I have that string, but it is not including GU. So that is why it is saying it is not present from this position. So it will say -1. Clear? Sharab, Yanji, and Bobby.
Yeah.
Yes, Nikhil.
Yes, Nikhil.
Yeah.
Mm,
Any
it's
other?
like- Yeah.
Sorry.
No, I just want to say to Anji and Shara. This is like, I think, our innest here.
Yeah, Sebastian and Instead, right?
Yeah. Subastier innest here. Yeah, same concept, I guess.
Yeah, same concept. Just checking the presence of substrings inside a string. Okay, but the syntax changes here because this is you are using index of method and contains method, because this is Java language. In Java, they have written contains and index of, but in your SQL, they have substr and str.
Okay.
All right. So any questions in this? Any other questions in these sessions?
So basically, contents will give us Boolean answer, whereas index of will give what do you call numeric answer. Is that what I understood?
Exactly. If this is going to return as a Boolean value, and this is going to return as a numerical or integer value. But that integer value, you should also remember that that integer value is the starting position of this substring.
Okay, got it. Yeah, thank you.
Okay?
Contains, basically it will tell you whether it contains a string or not. It has a
Exactly.
string
If
or
somebody asks you that is Bobby in the session, then you will say yes. If she is not present, then you'll say no. Yes or no. Type of question is this.
not. Like control
But-
F, basically.
Yeah. Then if I say, when did Bobby join? Will you say yes or no? No, right? You'll say the particular time. Right? So that is this index of. If you want to give a yes or no answer, then we use contains. If you want to give a particular answer, then you go with index of. If you want to know the particular position of that substring. Clear?
Yeah, got it. You can go ahead. Yeah.
Any questions or anything on these things? I know you are shifting from ETL to Java and Selenium, so it will be a little confusing with the methods, or you'll get jumbled with the methods. You'll sometimes write the methods which you use in SQL here. That's a common problem everybody has, but that you'll overcome only when you start practicing this. All right. So it's
Nikhil.
already, yeah,
I have some questions. Can you like turn off the recording?
sure. So this example, that your question is, why are we using this example? Right? This example is for another scenario. For example, this is, I just want to check whether whatever the input that I gave is present inside this success message or not. But here, see, I placed an order in any of the e-commerce site like Alibaba, Amazon, or Flipkart, or any other site, e-commerce site, and then I got the order number. If in case in the future I want to track my order, and I want to track my order, so if I search with this full string, full length, will I be able to search, or will I be able to get the order number or order details?
No. So you have to
I have
find
to
the
use-
starting and end position of the order.
Exactly. I want to fetch only this order number so that I can store it and use this order number in future for further tracking. Or if you send money to some other persons, you will get a transaction ID. Using the transaction ID, you can, if you have any problems, you can code the transaction ID to the bank. But the transaction ID, like your transaction ID is, please store this for further reference. But the transaction ID, you have to get only the transaction ID, right? To share it with bank officials if you have any problems. So you have to fetch that particular part from that string. So to fetch this particular part, I'll use this string. Okay. So I did not use this one for the presence because we will never know what will be the order ID before we place the order. But we will know the email address before we register the account. Right. So that is the reason I changed it. I changed the example to other, and then I used this example to this. So this example I'm going to use for extracting the substrings from a string. If I want to get this particular string from this complete string, I'll use this example.
Okay.
Understood, Bobby?
Yeah, I got it. So for example, in real time, suppose the Gunda Nikhil dot tutor, so we can take it as a first name, we can extract the last name, and we can extract the before Gmail like that, right?
Yeah,
That's what
yeah,
we
yeah,
want
exactly.
in real time.
Yeah, if you want to do only this part, or if you want to get only this part, or if you want to get only domain. So what is the domain of the registered email address? Then if you want to
Yeah.
get only this part, right?
Yeah.
So
That's
that
popular
examples.
SQL interview question.
Yeah.
Extracting the domains.
Okay. So this is also important question in interviews. They will ask you, how do you extract? And in this, we have multiple scenarios that we'll see in our next session.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, Nikhil.
All right.
Thank
Yeah.
you, Nikhil.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.
Right.